This is just a schematic, and please remember it as that. It's just conceptual. It's not based on any statistics or data. It's how to choose the right delivery method. Over on the far left, we have the traditional bid build, where the agency has most, not all, most of the risk for change. It's followed by IDIQ, where they've transferred some of that risk to the industry. And then in the middle, we have CMGC, where hopefully the risk is balanced after you go through the CMGC process, getting input from the CMGC firm, recognizing that input, looking at ways to reduce both agency and contractor risk. Hopefully that minimizes the total risk that the industry would be facing in proposing or bidding on that project. And then as you move to the right again, it's shifting the risk over to the private side, either the design builder or in the ultimate case, the public-private partnership, the concessionaire that is accepting all the risk, in some cases for projects in the DC area, for 50 to 75 years for traffic, design, construction, tort liability, maintenance, anything that could go wrong with that project in the next 50 to 75 years is at the risk of that concessionaire, including the risk of collecting tolls. So that's the ultimate in risk shifting from the state's perspective. Talk a little bit about design build from still the 30,000 foot level. As a policy guy, I don't get down in the weeds that much. I miss the weeds, quite honestly, but my life is up at the 30,000 foot level where we talk about concepts and issues and barriers and risk. So in this schematic, you can see that design build is very much different than the traditional bid build system. It shifts the risk and the responsibility for design and construction to the design builder. The big shift, the big difference besides responsibility is in business relationships. How many engineering firms do we have in this audience today? Few. And I think that's, over the past 15 years, that's where I've heard the biggest, not complaint, the biggest level of concern being raised, that the engineering firms are no longer working for the owners. They're now working for a contractor that has a profit motive and a reason to consider price in everything they do in putting their proposal together. So this model of being responsible also shifts the business paradigm to one of relationships. Successful design build firms need to develop successful relationship with their designers and keep those relationships. They have to find ways to incentivize or provide payback for their designers for helping them get the design build contract. And just that concept is difficult for many A&E firms to get over initially, but once they're in the design build market, they often see there's some advantages to that also in being more in control of the work, having greater constructability as they design the project, and a number of other advantages that they didn't always see when they were working directly for the public owners. So not only is there a shift in responsibility, there's also a shift in business relationships, and that's difficult for some to get over before they experience design build. The Design Build Institute of America is an association that represents this practice, and they're an institute in Washington, D.C. that has many members, and they keep statistics on how many states have state laws authorizing design build. And one of their statistics is for the transportation market, and they publish this map every year. And if you could track this map from 1999 up to now, you would see that it's changed colors dramatically. We still have a few states that have not done but one or two design build projects, and some that have done none. But the majority of states have taken their first steps down this path, and many states such as North Carolina, Virginia, Florida, California are well on their way to having design build being an incremental part, an important part of their program.